everybody, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. I am going to be showing you how I would paint a cluster of hydrangeas on this porcelain tray. This is a tray I use often to do video tutorials on. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. The first thing I'm going to do is create leaves with the 3/4 flat brush by Plaid, one stroke brushes. And I am going to be using a 12 flat brush. It's also a Plaid one stroke brush and a stylus. I'm going to be using this to do some dotting. Paints I will be using are Magenta and Wicker White, just a touch of berry wine, my Happy Green, and Thicket. Alright, as I mentioned, I'm going to be using this brush to do my leaves. It's a 3/4 inch brush. Right now I am double loading it into the Thicket and the Happy Green. Now, whenever you're creating leaves, you can create them all, going one direction as far as the dark on the outside or the light on the outside, however you choose to do it. That's up to you. It'll work. Here's my brush loaded. I am touching it a little bit into some white and just moving it back and forth between my two greens. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. With this, I am going to be creating and moving this around. I'm going to be doing a big leaf first, and I'm just going to be doing my little regular wiggle leaves, touching back in, and again adding a little bit of the Wicker White. And that way I think that truly helps give it more opaqueness, which if you watch my videos, that's something I really like. Alright, so then I'm going to continue on with this brush and attempt to do just a little bit of a smaller leaf, and it'll be right here, and I'm just going to, like I said, again create it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to turn this one with the light part on the outside. Again, it just gives it a little bit more interest. And I'm going to pull some dark in apparently from the one below, but that's fine. Let me do this one again, see if I can get more of the lighter on the outside like I like. And I'm going to go over this one too. So that's the nice thing about doing this kind of painting, is that you can just go over it until you get it the way you like it. Not a problem. I'm going to do this again and create another one again. Whoops, going the wrong way. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Like that. And again, this one is going to be with the lighter on the outside. Now you can do a variety of leaves. You don't have to do the wiggle leaves or make them big. Use a different size brush if you wish, that's fine. I just like these leaves so much, and I think they're so pretty. And I can envision a hydrangea in them. I am going to go ahead and switch over to a smaller brush. Basically using all the same colors. And then just come around here a little bit with some smaller leaves. On that one, get a little bit more paint in here. I'm going to just do this kind of a leaf, and then you can pull it back and do it again. And pull it back like that. And like I mentioned, I think when you put a little bit of white into it, it helps make it more opaque, which will also make it more durable. Now when you're painting on glass, it's very, very important. I like to try to say this in each of my videos. It's very important that you wash your glass. You can wipe it off with rubbing alcohol just to make sure that it's clean. Wash it with soap and water, and maybe touch it up with some rubbing alcohol, again just to make sure that it's clean. And this is a Big Daddy here. And if you haven't already figured it out, the cluster is going to go within this center here. And I just did the leaves around here in the beginning just to put them behind and then do the flowers on top. Now you can go ahead and paint the flowers and then put them on top, or put them around. However you want to do it, that's up to you. Alright, so I did go ahead and hit this with a heat gun just to make it a little bit drier, because the next thing I'm going to do, and this part you don't actually have to do, but I'm doing it for this video, is I'm going to touch in, or I shouldn't even say touch in, I'm going to do it like a base coat of paint over it. So that's why it was important that I dry it before I paint on it, because I didn't want to pull too much of the green into it. Whereas if you don't do this, and I'm doing this with the magenta and a little bit of Wicker White in here. This is just giving it a base to do the little flowers on. Alright, so I'm going to do another one over this direction. I'm going to have it come a little bit off of the leaves. Have it a little bit of the leaves showing. And I'm just going to do it in threes. You can do it even if you just want to do one, depending on the space you have also. And that can add to the determination of how many you're going to do and where you're going to position them. And then I'm going to come in here and do what I'm perceiving as a larger one to go over here. And I'm just kind of planning it out a little bit and coming down. I don't want to cover up my leaves entirely, but it's just giving me a general guideline to follow while creating the blossoms. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is just carry the paint. I'm going to wipe out my brush because I really, at this point, want more white on my brush as opposed to the pink. If your brush while you're doing this gets too full of paint, feel free to scrape some of the paint off. It's perfectly fine to do that. What I'm going to do at this point is go around the edge of it and put in just some initial petals. I didn't hit it with a dryer, so if you feel the need to do that, you know, do so before this, that's fine. I'm just going to keep painting over it and try to make it as white as possible around the edges. That is my way of showing the separation between one bloom to another. But it's really not a biggie if you don't get it to show. It truly isn't. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to go ahead and fill it in without going around and doing like the whole bloom. Because I'm going to go ahead and fill it in as if this is what you see. If that makes sense. And you can make like a full flower, or you can just do partials. And I do like to overlap when I'm doing these. Let's see here, let's go this direction. So I'm saying you can do a full and then just paint over it if you wish. That would make it even more durable. You just have to be careful that you're not picking up the paint from underneath. And my brush is getting a little full of paint. I personally don't like a lot of paint in my brush, so you will find that I am a lot of times wiping the paint out of my brush. And you can, you know, wash it, but there's really no need to do that. See, I'm starting to lift some of the paint up from underneath, so you have to be careful. Just do it very lightly. Touch this up a little bit here, because I don't want it to look like that. And then I'm going to start working on the bloom below. I'm trying just to touch very lightly because I don't want to pull the paint up. It's one thing you have to worry about when you're doing this and you're working on top of other paint, is that you don't pull it up. So don't overwork it too much, or you can do that. And these little petals, very easy. I'm just kind of putting my brush to the side a little bit and pulling it. And then I'll just come around and do the same again. Main thing is I want to try to distinguish between the different blooms. I mean, when you're actually seeing a hydrangea, you know the difference between one bundle of flowers to the next, right? Well, that's what I'm trying to do here. And one thing pretty would be to maybe do this in a monochromatic theme. That way you would definitely tell. But for the sake of this, we're going to keep them all the same. And just create the boundary here. I'm just going to come up a little bit over this one. Again, just lightly, because I don't want to make the paint come up. Alright, so there we go. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and work on the one beside it. Leave this one for last, which I think is what I'm going to do. Or you can continue on working on it. It's up to you. But I'm going to go over here. And again, you can hit it with a heat gun, a hair dryer, anytime you feel the need. But for the sake of this, I don't want to do it too many times. I think it'll be just fine. Just fine. And again, I'm just doing kind of a slight tilt, push and pull, slight tilt and go. Alright, so then I can come in here once again. I'm going to do my little flower petals. Create a whole little flower there. And they can go in different directions. You can actually, even with this type of painting, turn it around to where you have the darker part of the flower, you know, so that you have a little bit of the dark showing, a little bit of the light showing. When you're doing the petals, it doesn't all have to be all white on the edge or the outer part. It can have some of the darker if you want to do that. And I've done that before in painting different flowers like this. It actually can give it some more interest, having some different color showing. Hopefully you can see this. I'm just going to keep working on it. And you can come and put some other, see, I'm starting to pull it up, so I don't want to work it too much. Definitely don't want to work it too much here. Just got to have a light touch to it, so you're not pulling up the paint. Well, like I said, you can come in here too with this and do the same thing. You can give it a little bit more time to dry. Because they're not all going the same direction as far as that goes. They're bundled in here. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to stop like that. I don't want to mess with those too much, because next thing I know I will have all the paint coming up, and then it won't be pretty anymore. Alright, so we're going to go up in here, just do some petals. And then just keep doing them, keep doing your work, creating your magic. Like I said, you can layer them. Definitely not rocket science, that's for sure. And any of these paintings that I do, they don't have to be on glass. You can do any of these designs on anything that you're working on. And that's really up to you. I just like to do it on glass, the glass surfaces. My paintbrush is getting too full of paint for me, so I'm going to scrape a little bit of that off and start again. I hope you like this design. I think it's pretty. Say pretty and pink. So I say a lot of layering really makes them look more natural, but I just have to be careful on this for the purpose of the video that I don't do too much so that I'm not pulling the paint up. You know, anytime you feel like your design would be nicer if the paint were drier, give it some drying time. Maybe even an hour or so, and then come back in and that, or hit it with a heat gun or hair dryer if you don't have a heat gun. And then that way it will, you know, work better for you. Get a cleaner look a lot of times if you do it that way. I'm just trying to keep my touch light so that I'm not pulling up the paint. Like I said, it's not a hard design to do at all. It just takes a little bit of time because of all the petals that you have to paint. Alright, so I'm going to stop at that point. The next thing I'm going to do is take my stylus and dip it into the happy green, and I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to randomly put dots. I'd like to see, or at least pretend that I'm seeing the center of a lot of flowers as opposed to a few, so that there's some color or variation in color. So I truly may not be hitting the center of a flower, if that makes sense, but I'm pretending that I am. If you feel like you have to be hitting the center for real, then by all means do that. But as these are layered, a lot of times it would actually be very hard to tell what was the center and what wasn't. So they're pretty and pink, pretty and pink. And I'm just randomly doing like 3 dots. Not a specific amount has to be done. Alright, again, I hope I'm keeping all this on the screen. I apologize if I floated off at all. But I think by doing the centers actually gives it some more interest. Now this is where I say you could do these clumps and maybe even separate them a little bit more with leaves. I'm not going to do that on this video because I know that right now the paint is too wet. If I were to do that, it would just be a mess. But if you wanted to even take some time and throw a petal, or not a petal, but a flower, or there I go, a leaf, coming out of here, that would be fine too. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. If you have any ideas of things that you'd like to see me paint, please leave that down below as well. I'm always interested in having some ideas of what to do next. And I know, my painting style is very simplistic, intentionally so, because I want it to be something that people can do, not something that's so difficult that you look at it and think, well, that's beautiful, but I could never do that. I just don't want, I want people to paint or be creative. So as I tell my grandkids all the time, make it what you want it to be. Use your imagination. I like them to be creative. You can get inspiration from people, but be creative. So we're almost finished. Thanks for sticking with me. At the end of the video, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe. And when this is all done, at the bottom of the video you will see a button that says share. Please hit that button and share this with your social network, with all of your friends and your family, or family and friends, however you want to term it. I'd appreciate it. Alright, so we're going to let this be at this. Hope you like it. And until the next time, I will see you then. You have a good one.